When I was a rebellious teenager, I tended to distract myself as frequently as possible from anything important so that I could pursue my enjoyment of video games instead. Often a difficult task in school where you were always at risk of having your Game Boy confiscated if you were caught with it red-handed. I was always looking forward to study hall because I could sign onto the computers and find plenty of flash games to play all over the internet to escape my responsibilities. Newgrounds tended to be blocked relatively frequently, but the flash files often showed up on thousands of other sites at once. Leading me to one of the most popular indie games of its time, Revamped 2. A game that's seemingly faded into obscurity today, but anybody that was there in 2005 remembers the standing ovation John Cooney received from the Newgrounds community, remaining on the front page for a good long while in January 2005. This small indie game was enough to kickstart this man's career, as he'd go on to develop many more sensational classics like This Is the Only Level and Achievement Unlocked. That's getting off track though. What about Ball Revamped 2? I wondered how such an old web game that the rest of the world forgot about still stuck out in my mind. Was it purely for nostalgic purposes, or did the game actually hold up 15 years later? I had to find out, and I wasn't going to wait around for the end of native Flash support to revisit all those memories. What I found was pleasantly surprising, as it manages to hold up pretty well, whereas many other games didn't age as gracefully. If you're older than I am, you may remember an unconventional game called Marble Madness, where you needed to navigate your marble through several perilous mazes while avoiding all the zany obstacles thrown about the course. That should give you a general idea of what you're in for. Fighting against the forces of gravity, you have to guide your colorful ball to the exit without touching any of the electrified walls along the way. It starts off as simplistic as it sounds, but it doesn't stay too easy for very long, as you've got 100 levels to overcome before you can be free of the labyrinths forever. Each set of levels introducing new gimmicks to the playfield to hinder you and provide a gradual challenge as you pass your way through several abstract worlds. The walls will start to move, and that's just the beginning. Lasers will fry you right on the spot, fans will push you away against your will, delicious coconuts will smash you into itty-bitty pieces, and just when you think the invisible walls are the worst of it, the gravity itself changes, making the environment an enemy too. If you're not facing any of those though, the basic gameplay has more than enough potential to be challenging. Especially with levels like these, where your best bet is to take it slow and steady so you don't thrust into oblivion. For a game that's designed to be played with one hand and made only by one person, the variety here is astonishingly high, and it compels you to continue playing to see what's going to happen next, which is always a must in anything that demands your attention to succeed. Heck, I remember being blown away when I found out there's a fully functional boss fight waiting for you should you survive the lengthy gauntlet. Not even Marble Madness had a boss fight. Wrapping the entire package up in the sweetest deal that you could possibly ask for, the controls are buttery smooth and they're seamlessly responsive to every light tap on the keyboard. It's actually better now than it was back in 2005 because the game's performance isn't hindered by your system's limitations. Unless you're actually playing the game on an old Pentium 4 toaster from 2001. Something as obvious as that can make an enormous difference in how playable a game is. And Ball Revamped 2 is perfect in that regard. If I ever bump into a visible wall, it's my fault and I couldn't ask for anything else. I'll get back to the controls a little bit later. Last, but definitely not least, rounding up the positives, you're given a score if you manage to reach the end of the game, comparing your time and the amount of deaths to the creator's best time from back then. There's a decent amount of replayability here, seeing how quickly and cleanly you can complete the course, and then going out and bragging about it to your mates, who can try to beat you. All that's said and done, this game is definitely on a roll, and its success was no fluke. Since I forgot what most of the stages were like from when I first played it, I'm overjoyed to say that it's an absolute blast discovering everything, not just for a returning player, but for a first-time player too. It isn't flawless though. Since this game was a solo effort, it was bound to have a couple of issues here and there, mainly regarding the level design. There are a few levels that have fake exits in them, in which the only way to tell the slug apart from the rest is to try every one until you find out which one's the real one. That would be fine if there was a way to distinguish the imitations apart, but there isn't. That is not game design. You aren't coming up with a solution to a perplexing puzzle using the tools available to you like Ingredius. This is just straight up guessing and wasting your time if you're wrong. I don't think anybody would be missing much if those levels were gutted. And it took a while for Cooney to address the problem. It wasn't fixed until Ball Revamped 4. With the one massive flaw revealed, I'd be comfortable giving Ball Revamped 2 a B+. This is good, clean fun that anybody in the entire world can understand. And it still manages to be compelling with its variety and challenge. It's easy to see why this game did so well. And this was long before indie games started catching on with mainstream gamers. Attention well deserved for the amount of effort put into mastering the basics. And the beginning of a legacy that would last for years to come. Before I close out this video, it's worth mentioning the original Ball Revamped and the prototype, Ball 0.5. It isn't worth doing a separate video for them since the gameplay loop's still fun, but it's much jankier. You had to mash the arrow keys continuously in order to get the ball to move, and that's as awkward as it sounds. Hence why I brought up the smooth controls in Ball Revamped 2. It took 2 tries before John perfected the controls, and he admitted he had no idea what he was doing when he first learned how to write code in Flash. So let that be a lesson to all you aspiring game developers out there. Nobody's perfect on their first try. Everybody's improving. You will make a god-tier game if you keep at it. With those last words, I'd like to thank everybody for watching this video. It might not have been as long as my previous retrospectives, but it gets the word out about games that are worth talking about. I wonder what are some of your favorite Flash games from yesteryear? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you liked what you saw, then make sure you subscribe, because there will be plenty more where that came from. And until next time, stay safe out there. Later!